Power to the truth. This is Margo. This is Thursday, April 11th, 2019, 6:15 p.m. Pacific Time, United States of America. What a day it's been. So, what we're going to do is cover some news items, and then we're going to do earthquakes. So, the news items I'm going to take from my Subscribestar page. This is my new platform that I'm kind of transitioning over to. I'm still doing things on YouTube and Facebook, but this is like the big hub now, and it's a really cool platform. And if you'd like to support my work and become a member, you can join for $5 a month. I'm up to 10 members. I've got 76 posts. A bunch of them are public, and I do have quite a few private posts too that you can have access to. So, and I created this in an effort to, because of the coming censorship. Oh, and by the way, Robin Westenra just experienced problems with trying to post some stuff about the Julian Assange arrest on his blogspot.com, and wouldn't let him post it. Of course, that's owned by Google, and he tried to email the code to himself on his Gmail account. Of course, that's owned by Google too. So, you know, I've had problems with Messenger over on Facebook in the last day or so. It seems to be cleared up now, but people are experiencing all kinds of weird stuff, and I call it censorship. So this is why I created this platform over here, and I love it. And the feedback I've gotten from the people who are getting used to it, they like it very much. They like it very much. So we're going to start with this article. This is about the space landing, supposed space landing from the Bereshit, and I found out how to pronounce this from one of my Jewish friends who corrected me on my pronunciation of it from my show last night. And this was the Israeli spacecraft, and it was supposed to land on the moon and do a bunch of experiments and things like that. And it was the first privately owned spacecraft that had gone to the moon, and it was they were working in conjunction with NASA and JPL. And I was watching this live when it was all happening. They were live streaming on YouTube and on their website. Space IL was live streaming, and so I was watching it, and it got all the way down, and they got it, the little thing turned around to where it was backing down onto the lunar surface, and they said, oh, main engine failure, and then communications failure. So my comment is, this is what they say. And it says, Bereshit, or Bereshit, yeah, is Israel spacecraft crashes during historic moon landing attempt. Space IL support team says, we have a failure of the spacecraft. We unfortunately have not managed to land successfully. But what gets me, and here's an article, and this was sent to me by Marcia Noren. She left it under a comment on my show from yesterday. So thank you, Marcia, for this. And hate these ads. This is from The Independent in the UK, and what gets me is that, you know, they had all these officials and everything in the control room there, and it was here's the little video, here's the control room from Israel, They were speaking in Hebrew most of the time. There's the picture of the craft where it's backing down, and then they said, "Oh, engine failure," and we lost communications. But what got me was after it failed, they didn't seem upset. Nobody seemed upset. Nobody seemed disappointed. They were all clapping and cheering and everything. So, and supposedly they were just happy to have gotten that far. But you know, if it had been me, I would have been pissed that if I'd gotten all that way, and it you know, it left the earth on February 21st, and you know, here it is, April 11th, and it's been orbiting the moon since April the 4th, and it's been, you know, coming down, closer and closer, and then all of a sudden it's like, oops, main engine failure, and then we lost communications. You know, somehow I just don't buy that story, and it just, something about it just doesn't feel right to me. It just does not feel right. And so here's the picture that was sent back, supposedly, and this was from a tweet from Jim Bridenstine. While NASA regrets the end of Team Space IL mission without a successful lunar landing, we congratulate Space IL, Israel Aerospace Industries, and the State of Israel on the accomplishment of sending the first privately funded mission into lunar orbit. And here's their flag, and it says, "Small country, big dreams." So I guess the library crashed up there too. And there's a picture of the moon in the background. So this picture was taken and sent back before it crashed, or it was before it hit the ground, while it was still doing its thing, backing down, you know, and everything was doing what it was supposed to do, supposedly. So there's that. So I'm gonna copy these links. Oh, I don't want the Twitter link. Let's go back. Here we go. I want this link. I will copy these links as I do them and have them in my show notes. Oh, and another thing I wanted to give people a heads up about, you know, when you put a link over on Facebook and then people click on it, it's like the link of the page comes up, and then normally it'll, after the page is there, it'll put a question mark like right there where my cursor's flashing, and then it'll put FB and then a long string of code, and that's tracking, that's put in by Facebook so that they can see what happens with this link and where you go, and so that they can see what's going on. And I learned this from Scott Zione from Planet X News. He was talking about that. So now what I do, once I click on a link from Facebook, then I go in and I take out that string of code so that I'm not perpetuating all their BS. I'm so sick of Facebook, I could just scream. And I'm not that happy with YouTube either, but you know, it's the platform that we're using, you know, while we're in this transition phase. And I'll probably stay, if I can keep my YouTube page up, I will, because I do have live streaming capability there as well. But I can also live stream over on TalkShoe. So we have lots of different options for different things. Our next article is courtesy of Nostradamus, and it's a major fire in ethanol processing plant in Hennepin, Illinois. And this fire broke out at 3:15 p.m. on Wednesday, April the 10th. That was yesterday. To a major fire at the Marquis Energy ethanol plant at Hennepin, Illinois. Hennepin is located about 95 miles southwest of downtown Chicago and about 11 miles west of Interstate 39 near the Illinois River. And he said, and he sent me another story too. He said, nobody is reporting on these. I said, I will. I'll put it up on my new platform. So here's the article, and we're going to be seeing more and more and more of this stuff. And as catastrophes happen, infrastructures are breaking down, and we have an ethanol processing plant. That's not a good sign. That thing could blow. That could blow, and it could catch fire, and everything could just burn up in an instant. So here's this article. Man, that print is so tiny. It's just so tiny. It says the company has its own fire and rescue team made up of firefighters that also served as volunteer firefighters at the departments nearby. Anyway, so there's a map, and I'll see a picture of it now. So let's leave that link below or in our show notes. Our next story is shipyard evacuated after bomb reportedly discovered aboard nuclear submarine. Oh, that's a good thing, isn't it? A bomb on a nuclear submarine. This staff at Barron's Shipyard in Devonshire had been evacuated following reports that a bomb has been found aboard a nuclear submarine, according to local press reports. This is from Zero Hedge. This is from yesterday. I guess this is England. An employee said staff at the Devonshire Dock Hall complex had been told about an anonymous tip that there was a bomb aboard one of the Astute class vessels at the shipyard. So there's the dock. The British defense firm that runs the yard confirmed that there is an ongoing incident at the yard. We can confirm there's an ongoing incident at our Barrow site, and we are liaising with Cumbria police who are carrying out an investigation. As a precaution, the Devonshire dock complex has been closed. Staff, contractors, and local residents are being kept informed. Police said they have arrived to assist BAE staff, and although an ambulance was called to the scene, there have been no reports of injuries. So there's that article. A bomb on a nuclear submarine. Not a good combo plate, if you ask me. Not good at all. Next, now we're going to go to the Arctic. And I say our days are numbered. Arctic temperatures warmest in more than 10,000 years. University of Alberta study. Here's a quote from the article. We've known that the last few decades have been very warm, but we found that temperatures are on the order of 2 degrees Celsius warmer than any time in the last 10,000 years, and that was a surprise. So this is from the Edmonton Journal. This came out yesterday. There's a picture. And now they're going to do a study from, where is this? Professor of the Department of Earth and Atmospheric Science and Canada Research Chair in Northern Environmental Change. That's a long title. Froze, funny name, froze in the Arctic. Co-author of the study said the resulting rise in permafrost thaw across the Arctic is destabilizing soil carbon, which may further accelerate warming. Yes, we've been seeing that. The study found that previous record highs occurred during the early Holocene period around 9,900 and 6,400 years ago, but even without the unique circumstances of that period, when the Earth's axis was more strongly directed toward the Sun, current Arctic temperatures have exceeded those records. All indications from this new study are that temperatures and the impacts of recent warming are only picking up and getting stronger, said Froze. We are moving into uncharted waters with respect to climate change in the north. Roger that. The rising temperatures have had implications across northern Canada already, with another recent U of A study reporting record levels of mercury released by thawing permafrost. Yeah, that's another thing, mercury. Not just methane, but mercury. The impacts of warming across the north are being felt at an alarming rate, and this study provides further evidence that we are well beyond anything our planet has known in the last 10,000 years. Clearly, we need to come to terms with the impacts of these warmer temperatures and consequences for northern communities, infrastructure, and lifestyles. Well, they're going to have to move around. They're going to have to become nomadic as their towns melt. The permafrost is not permanent. The non-permafrost. Here's another one from the Arctic region. Alaska relies on ice. What happens when it can't be trusted? This is out of Anchorage. It's not springtime now in Alaska. It's breaking up, the end of safe travel on ice. This is out of the New York Times. And this is from yesterday. And they're saying there are all these hazards because the ice is melting. 5 people have died because they've fallen through the ice. People traveling on frozen rivers by ATV or snowmobile are falling through, and some have died. Rescuers trying to reach them have been stymied by thin ice. The ice roads that carry freight in winter and spring have been going soft prematurely. Hunters cannot ride safely to their spring camps. Sled dog races have been canceled. So that's what's happening in Alaska. And Alaskans are not accustomed to are not just accustomed to hard frozen winters. They depend on them for essential transportation, subsistence hunting, industry and recreation. Frozen rivers connect rural villages the way highways connect the rest of the country. But Alaska is the fastest warming state of America, heating up along with the rest of the Arctic at twice the global average rate. Springtime temperatures are averaging 2 to 5 degrees higher now than 5 years ago, and record highs were set across the state in March. There's a picture. Vehicle tracks along the shore of the Bering Sea near Nome. Essential routes in Alaska are disrupted when winter ice on the state's rivers and coasts softens earlier than expected. Yep. Maybe they're going to have to use helicopters or ships. So, I will leave the link to this article. And two more I think. Yeah, two more articles. The next one, Airpocalypse smog events in China linked to melting ice cap, research reveals. Stagnant weather caused by fast melting Arctic ice helped create conditions for China's recent extreme air pollution events, scientists say. So this is from The Guardian. When was this? I don't know. Look at that. That's awful. I wouldn't be able to breathe in that. Very rapid change in polar warming is having a large impact on China's air pollution. This is from 2017. March of 2 years. So it's 2 years old. Climate change played a major role in the extreme air pollution events suffered recently by China and is likely to make such airpocalypses more common. So it's saying that because the weather patterns are all screwed up, then it doesn't get the airflow and all this stuff, and so they've got more pollution. It keeps the cold air from getting into the eastern parts of China where it would flush out the air pollution. So it's like a sink in there and everything collects over there because they can't get the cold air. So there's that. So that's pertinent even now, even though it's 2 years old. Sometimes it's good to see some of these older articles. And here's another one. Blooming in the Arctic, Russian military show off advanced northern clover base in drone overflight. Now this is a military base in the Arctic Ocean. The base became operational in 2015 and is manned by 250 troops supporting military operations on Kotelny Island, one of the new Siberian archipelagos off the northern coast of Russia. The facility also has the Temp military airfield and a high-power radar station capable of detecting any approaching threats from afar. So this is showing, this is from RT, this is showing that Russia is serious about militarizing and commercializing the Arctic, and they're already at it. So this base was set up in 2015 on this island. That's what it looks like. And they can house 250 troops in this base, and the guys don't have to go out. They've got all their supplies there. They've got a gym, they've got ping pong, they've got all kinds of stuff right there on this base. There they are protecting it. Here are their tanks bringing stuff in, going back and forth. So, you know, as the sea ice melts, Russia, China, the US, they're all planning on using this northern sea route. And so, but the military is going to be up there too. The US, Russia, everybody's going to get in on the action. You know, I just think everything needs to end soon. This is just too much. It's just too much, and I'm ready for this show to be over. So there's that. So hope you enjoyed our news report for tonight. Save. And now let's move on into earthquakes. I have USGS pulled up for all magnitudes for the last 24 hours, and we're showing 251 earthquakes worldwide. And of those, 41 are 2.5 magnitude or higher. So it's been active, and we're seeing some large ones. There was a large one over here off the coast of Miyako, Japan, a 6.1. That's the biggest one. This came in at 1:18 this morning, 12 kilometers deep. And I looked at the reports, and people just felt light shaking, because it was far away off the land, that it was in the ocean, so the water buffered it. Let's start with Mohian. Well, Mohian is India's the reporting station. Let's start with these three down here in the South Indian Ocean, the Andaman Sea. 4.9 happened last night at 7:39 p.m. These times are Pacific time, because that's my time zone. Then a 5.1 at 8:50 p.m. and a 4.9 at 8:55 p.m. And remember, I don't know, about a week ago, we saw a whole cluster of these. A whole cluster right there, same place. So I would suspect there's some kind of maybe volcanic activity going on underneath there. Let's just follow this ring of fire around. Here's a 4.6 near Ternate, Indonesia at 3:34 this afternoon, 46 kilometers deep. Then we've got 3 in a row here off of Papua New Guinea. We've got a 5.6 near Finschhafen, Papua New Guinea. It's in the ocean at 2:31 this afternoon. I clicked on this earlier, and I didn't see a tsunami warning. Let's see if they put anything up. Not for this one. Here's a 4.0 north of Puerto Rico. Let's check that while we're here. No tsunami threat from a nearby earthquake. Alright. So now we know. That's if the buoys are working. You never know. Here's another one. 5.1 near Kimbe, Papua New Guinea at 9:52 this morning, 24 kilometers deep. Then a 4.8 near Kokopo, Papua New Guinea at 3:24 this afternoon. So 3 in a row. Here's one down in the South Pacific Ocean on this Antarctic plate. 4.9 Pacific Antarctic Ridge. This happened last night at 9:06 p.m. Not too far. I'm still trying to get used to this new mouse. Not having much luck. Then over here, in the South Indian Ocean, to the southeast of Madagascar, which is this island just east of South Africa, we have one on this red line, a 5.0 on Southwest Indian Ridge at 3:28 this afternoon. And we had a 5.0 in the southern mid-Atlantic Ridge, the South Atlantic Ocean at 5:31 this afternoon. So a lot of fives. Then in South America, there was a 4.9 near Taltal, Chile at 10:07 this morning, and a 5.0 near Pisco, Peru at 8:50 this morning. This one was, looks like it was on land. Yep, not far from Pisco, 3 kilometers east. 62 kilometers deep. So that would have been big enough to cause damage if it was near any buildings or anything. Okay, this one just came in off the coast of Panama. 4.6 near Punta de Burica, Panama at 5:48 p.m. this afternoon. And the Panama Canal is over here. I think that's all of the international ones. Let's go to... Oh, well, let's look up close and personal. I missed these. Over here. Hate that. Super anti-spyware pop up when I'm recording. There was a 5.1 near Itomen, Japan at 10:52 this morning. So it was, I guess it was this island, southeast of that. And then two more, 4.9 at 9:03 this morning, and a 4.9 at 12:53 this afternoon, both near Margo, Japan, in the ocean. Right on that red line. Then here's the big one for today. This is to the east of this northern end of the mainland of Japan. It's a 6.1. The reporting station is Miyako, Japan at 1:18 this morning, 12 kilometers deep. So if that had been on land, it would have caused problems. It definitely would have caused some problems, I would think. So, let's take a peek at Hawaii now. We've got 3 here today, so that's way down from what we've been seeing. 1.9 near Kilauea at 11:41 this morning, 0.1 kilometer depth. 1.7 Mauna at 1:42 this afternoon at a minus 1.2 kilometer depth, and a 1.3 at Mauna Loa at 1:53 this afternoon at a minus 1.6 kilometers depth. So the epicenter of that earthquake was up on the side. It looks like it's on the outside. Here's the crater, so here's the side. So it was up in that side of the crater. So there's movement up there because the magma is filling things up. Now let's move on over to Dominican Republic. We've got 11 here today. The largest one was there was a 4. I thought there was a 4 point something over here. Anyway, I'll call them off. 2.8, 1.4, 3.1, 2.6, 2.1, 2.6, 2.8, 2.0, 3.5, 2.6, and 1.5. Alright, now let's go on up to Alaska. In the Alaska region, we've got 54 here today. That's about an average number. Let's see which ones of those are 2.5 magnitude or higher. Here's a 3.8 in the Aleutian Islands near Nikolsky, Alaska. Here's a 3.2 Kodiak Station. Here's a 2.6 Gustavus, 2.9 Redoubt Volcano, 3.3 Big Lake, that's in the Anchorage area, 2.7 Sutton Alpine, 2.6 Cantwell, 4.4 North Nenana, that's the biggest one, and 2.7 Kobuk at 0 kilometers depth. There's the Nenana one. There's Cantwell, and so on. This one was on oh, it was in the water near Kodiak. Right in that little inlet. So now let's look a little deeper with all magnitudes. And up here at Kobuk today we've got 17. So it's still clustering up here, and a lot of them are at surface level at 0 depth. So here's 1.5, 2.3, 1.4. They're mainly like high 1s and 2s range. There's a 2.0. And then the last one was a 1.6 at 5:48 this afternoon at surface level, 0 depth. I sure would like to know what's going on up there. Anyway, then we've got some more in this Nenana region. Some more small ones around there. Nothing up north today. And then they're peppered around, and in this view with Anchorage, there are 25 here today, so that's not very many. See, there's only 3 like right here in the Anchorage area, so that's not many at all. There's the Gustavus. There's Gustavus. There's a 2.2, and a 2.3, and so on and so forth. So let's move on down to the lower 48, and we're seeing another one here. Actually, we got a pair in Alabama, just north of this Florida Panhandle, a 2.5 and a 2.8 near Flomaton. I don't know how to say that. So we got a pair there. Then coming on out west, let's come on up to Utah. We're showing 5 here today. .4 Saratoga Springs, 1.6 Saratoga Springs in the same place, 1.0 Farron, 1.5 Fairview at a minus 3.1 kilometer depth at 7:44 this morning, and a 1.4 at Fairview again at 7:57 this morning at a minus 3 kilometers depth. So it's up in the mountain when it's a minus depth like that. Now let's check out Yellowstone. Make sure I get them all. Okay, we've got 13 in the Yellowstone region here today. I'll call them off. 2.3 Lincoln. This is the order that they came in. 1.1 Three Forks, Montana. 1.6 Manhattan, Montana. 0.8 West Yellowstone. 1.6 Lima, Montana. Remember, we were seeing a cluster there for a couple of days in a row. 1.2 Lima, Montana. 1.3 Lima. 0.8 Lima. 1.6 Salmon, Idaho. 0 magnitude at Old Faithful Geyser. And a 1.1 Old Faithful Geyser. 1.0 Old Faithful Geyser, and 2.5 Hoback, Wyoming, right down here. So we're still seeing some clusters here. That's at Old Faithful and at Lima, still clustering. Did I get this one? Yeah, Salmon. I got that one. So there's that. Now let's come on up to the Northwest Pacific, and let's look at our real-time tremor map first. In the last 3 hours, there has been 1 tremor. Out here in the ocean. See? It's right out here to the west of Redding. Straight west of Redding. Right there. I wonder if that's where Petrolia is located. So let's see how many in the last 24 hours. It's very creepy to not see anything. Look, they're all in the ocean. This is that Cascadia subduction zone. So this is tremoring. And 1 right there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tremors in the last 24 hours. And the last 48 hours, it hasn't been much either. But the last 24 hours, it was these in the ocean. So let's look at that area. So where's Reading? Reading, and we go straight east. Yeah, this is that Petrolia thing. So if you go straight west, I say east, west from Reading, you're going to end up where it kind of goes out. The land kind of goes out a little bit, juts out, and this is Petrolia, and this is where the San Andreas fault line comes up and meets with, this is the Juan de Fuca plate, and this is the Cascadia subduction zone. And so we saw 3 tremors, one here, one about here, and one up here or further up. And here's an earthquake right here in that Cascadia zone. It was a 1.8 near Waldport, Oregon at 5:59 this morning, 25 kilometers deep. So here was one of the tremors. Let's see if I can. I'm trying to do something here. Let's go on up. Let's see. I want to see. I can't grab it. I thought I could grab it. Okay, here's the one off the coast of Washington. That one happened at 6:52 this morning. Then, okay, here's the one I was trying to grab. This one happened at 8:30 this morning. Almost the same longitude and latitude down here. So that tremor, so the tremors show where the movement is and can show where earthquakes can happen. So, and with the lack of reporting of earthquakes up here in this northwest area, this is kind of what we have to do. We have to read between the lines. And we've got 2 here at Mount Rainier again. That's not very comforting. We saw one here yesterday. A 1.4 at 10:20 this morning and a 0.3 at 10:27 this morning. And this one was at a minus 0.6 kilometer depth. So it was on the side of that volcano. Mount Rainier is a volcano. This one was in the crater area. So stuff is happening. Definitely, stuff is happening. And here's an explosion, a large one, a magnitude 2.2 earthquake caused from an explosion, just what we need, near Klamath Falls, Oregon at 10:05 this morning at minus 1.4 kilometers depth. Just what we don't need. Seriously. Now let's look at Northern California. We've got 3 right up here. Here's a 1.1 near Almanor 2.0 Canyon Dam, and 1.8 Greenville. This is volcano region. All of this area is all volcanoes. Then coming down here, 0 magnitude near Portola, and a minus 0.5 near Truckee. That was a microquake. That one was at the surface at a 0 kilometers depth. Now, what's going on in the Reno area? What is going on? We've got an explosion, 1.3 magnitude explosion, 11 kilometers southeast of Sparks, Nevada. This is in my backyard practically. 1:20 this afternoon, 0.8 kilometers deep. Let's zoom in on that. Oh, I know where that is. That's on the on the south side when you're leaving. This is I-80 when you're headed east. So probably doing some construction or something over there. Blasting into the mountain. They're building and building and building here. Here's another explosion. And the Reno Sparks Indian Colony. A 1.1 magnitude earthquake. This happened at 2:02 this afternoon, and it was deep. It was 6 kilometers deep. That was in the mountain there. Here's another one, a 0.6 earthquake, not from an explosion, near Lemon Valley at 2:53 this afternoon. But that could have happened as a result of these other explosions. I mean, it could have, it can happen. I'm convinced that blasts and explosions cause earthquakes. Look at all these up here. Here's one. We've got a couple here at Pyramid Lake. Here's one, a 0.8 at 3:43 this afternoon. That's on the west side of the lake. Here's two in the lake, a 2.8. Now that's a big one at 9:28 this morning, and a 1.5 at 9:31 this morning, right next to each other in the middle of the lake. Then here's another one, a 1.1 at 9:07 last night. This is all part of that Pyramid Lake area. That's just too much. I don't like that. But they didn't ask me. Here's a 0.6 near Gardnerville. Coming on down to southern Nevada. Here's a cluster. We've got 12 here today at Hawthorne. Are you kidding me? Look at this. Here's the biggest dot. That was a 1.4. Well, now there's 11 on the map. But they're all the same place, and most of them are like near 0, or 0.2, 0.6, 1.4. Here's a minus 0.2 and they're all in the ground. None of them are at a negative depth. So something's going on. Here's one on the line, state line, the 1.0. Wow, lots of activity here today. Look at all of these. Here's another explosion. 1.5 magnitude explosion near Gabs at 2:29 this afternoon. Here's a 2.0 Courant, 2.1 Warm Springs, and then some smaller ones. 2.6 Courant. So we got 7 right here. Got a lot going on. And then some more down here. Here's a 1.2 near Alamo, and then a 0.5 near Alamo. I think that's it for Nevada. That's enough. That's just too much in my book. Now let's see what's going on in California. Coming down this east side at Mammoth Lakes, we've got 6 here today. They're small. They're under 1. At 0.7 is the biggest. So that's not as much. And coming on down, here's one. 1.3 Lone Pine. Uh-oh, here's Coso Junction. We've got more clustering. We've got 8 here today, including this one up there. This is all Coso Junction. 1.3 looks like is the biggest. 1.5 looks like is, and then 2.1 is the biggest one, it looks like. So we've got them all clustering right there. 8 right there. Coming on down. Did I get this one? No. There's a 1.4 Kernville. Here's a 2.3 Big Bear City. Here's a larger dot. 3.4 San Bernardino. Now this is in Southern California, in the LA area. In Southern California. And so we're showing 33 on the map today, so that's a little more than we had yesterday. We're seeing some more clustering here and there. So let's see in California which ones were 2.5 magnitude and higher. We got that 2.8. Did we get? Oh yeah, that was in Pyramid Lake. Alright, so in California, down here, we've got that 3.4 at San Bernardino. We've got a 3.1 near San Martin. And a 2.5 at the geysers that are 2.5 magnitude and higher. So, just gonna scroll through, see if anything sticks out here. Looks like Kauai is picking back up a little bit. Now let's come up this west side. This red line we're following is the San Andreas fault line. There's that large one that we saw, 3.1. Here's a 1.8 Gonzales, 0.8 Pinnacles, 1.9 Pinnacles. Here's 1.1 Crockett's in the San Francisco area. And then the geysers today. Look at that. 45 here today. 45. That's high. That's a high number. Most of them are under 1. Here's a 2.3. .5. I missed that one in the list. It's hard to get them all when you got 45. I imagine it's that one. No, that's the 2.3. There's the 2.5. They look the same size to me. Anyway. Let's see if we can wrap up this report for tonight. So we've had explosions and earthquakes and lots of stuff. Here's a 2.1 at Talkeetna that came in at 634. See if there's anything else we need to look at. We saw that one at Panama. We saw that one in the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. We saw all those up in Alaska. So I think that's a wrap. So things are getting crazy. So just remember to breathe. And remember to pray. And ask for Jesus and the angels and God to protect you and to guide you, and for the Holy Spirit to fill you and give you Holy Spirit discernment so that you can see the truth, so that you can see beyond the lies, because the lies are from Satan. The truth comes from God. So until next time, God bless you. Go in peace and good night.